Hey guys, this is Comic Uno, and today I'm doing a review for Supergirl. So let's start talking about this episode. This episode we get to see Linda Carter from Wonder Woman 77 guest star as the President of the United States. And she brings very relevant topics to the episode, where we get to see Mon-El's finally awake, and we learn that Mon-El is not a fellow Kryptonian, but instead a person from a planet that the Kryptonians didn't like. And Kara has her own prejudice against Mon-El until she learns her lessons in this episode. And we get to see that the President of the United States is bringing this law where we'll see aliens being able to open themselves, to be citizens of Earth. And some people are against it, some people are for it, and that's a big part of the episode. We have introduction of a few characters here, like I said, Mon-El. We also have Maggie Sawyer, which has a very interesting relationship with Alex. Maybe a budding relationship with Alex. We'll talk more about that after. And then we also have Miss Martian, who I thought was going to appear earlier in the episode, but instead is the cliffhanger of the episode where John is not alone. He just like Kara finding someone else that's very similar to her, a new person, not just Clark, he finds someone that's similar to him, where he thought he was the only Martian left. And that's pretty much the whole episode. And what did I think? I thought it was another great edition of Supergirl. And like I said, a very relevant episode, talking about gender, immigration, and just aliens in general. And it's very relevant for a Superman type show, which is Supergirl. So it's Supergirl's take of, you know, immigration and being an alien. And I thought it was really well done. Especially because we all know that Superman is, you know, one of the best symbols of immigration. So it's cool to see that into the Supergirl show. But it's not only immigration and alien stuff they're tackling here, but also even Kara's journalism, which is kind of intertwined in this whole entire political episode we get to see because of Linda Carter appearing in this episode. Now, I want to talk about the new characters, because I thought they really brought in the new players very well. Talking about Maggie, Mon-El, and Miss Martian. I guess I'll talk about Miss Martian because she had the least in this episode, but I'm really excited to see Megan. I know at first the trailer made it seem like Megan was going to be the character that was destroying everything, but it ended up being like some random alien that did it. And now I'm very curious to see where John's character will go, because you can see from this season that he's been very cold, I would say, as a character, besides with Alex and Kara, but even still cold to them too, but he's more open to them. But I think now with Megan being a character, we're going to see more of John and just him having to open himself up and really deal with him being an alien if he wants to reveal himself more as an alien, at least physically, because everyone knows that he is an alien, but he doesn't really show physically that he is an alien. And I think that's going to be a big theme in this whole season, is just dealing with aliens and integrating into Earth, which I thought was interesting because it also makes the villain of the week type stuff more interesting, because last season we get to see the villain of the week is like, oh, there's an alien, there's another alien, and they were just, you know, they could be more two-dimensional. Supergirl, I think, deals with it a little bit better than other shows, but here, we can really see the aliens get more personality, and seeing them deal with, again, trying to integrate with Earth, which I think is such an interesting story piece, especially because that's what Supergirl's trying to do. And she says it's not because I'm afraid of humans, it's because she's afraid of criminals. And she does want to live that double life, which is, I'm excited to see that theme, you know, delved into more. So I thought that was interesting. Moving on to Maggie Sawyer, which I thought was a really cool character too. Great actress portraying her, and her personality. And like I said, I predicted that the Alex and Maggie thing was going to happen a couple weeks ago. And now I think this episode really showed that we'll probably see something with Maggie and Alex, or at least them hanging out with each other a lot. So I'm curious to see where they're going to go with that, because like I said, they really delve into gender, and again, minorities in general, very well in this episode. So I wonder if they're going to do the same thing with Maggie and Alex. I think it would be a good opportunity, but I'm glad they don't rush it here. It's just kind of placing the stories, or the story plots here, and then I'm sure delving into it more as the season goes on, because we see that Maggie's going to be in the next episode too, hanging out with Alex. So I'm curious to see where that story's going to go. And then third is Mon-El, a character that I was disappointed we didn't really get to see in the last 2 episodes, but finally really showing here. And I like that Kara's kind of happy to see him at first and saying, oh, well, we kind of have to trust him. And then, you know, seeing her own prejudice of, you know, Kryptonian politics come into this episode. Again, love that they're using more Kryptonian heritage, where she's just does not want to be with him and hates him because of where he's from. And then by the end, Kara realizing, oh wait, this is totally wrong. This is everything I'm against, and I shouldn't do that, even though that was Kryptonian politics. So that's where I say that the politics put into this episode were very fluid and organic, and very relevant to the times we're in now. So I really like that about this episode. So great new characters. I think really were not forced into the episode, because sometimes when you have new characters to a show, it's like, they don't really meld well with the other characters. Like, now the cast is getting too crowded. I didn't feel that with Supergirl. I thought all 3 characters were very relevant and fit into the show very well, and all the actors really portrayed them well in this episode, and it makes me excited to see all 3 characters move on into the season. Also, I want to say that I was very happy that this episode was able to bring stories to not just Kara, but also, again, John, which I talked about, Alex I talked about, but even Jimmy, a character that has been sidelined a bit in the first 2 episodes, and even the first season because of the whole romance stuff, and now he's put into his own position as the Cat Grant of the show, and he has to show his power and figure out what his power is. And yes, it's kind of a small plot line in the episode, but it's a necessary plot line. I'm really just glad that Jimmy's growing as a character. Now we have to work on Win, even though he's still a really fun character in this episode. He still doesn't really have a lot of meat in this episode, and hasn't really had any meat in, I guess, the first 3 episodes, so hopefully we get to see a little bit more of Win as the season goes on. But like I said, a really well done episode for Supergirl that is really relevant, and brought a lot of cool themes to the episode, a lot of cool character moments, even a lot of Wonder Woman references. I saw the Wonder Woman 77 spin, talks about the invisible jet. There's a lot of cool scenes, and a little cliffhanger. Is she an alien? What's going on there? So, can't wait for another episode of Supergirl. So far, this has been, I think, the most solid and best written DC TV show of this season. But let me know in the comments below what you think. This is Comic Uno. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Don't forget to like my Facebook page. Also, description below, there are links for my comic book, Like Father, Like Daughter. And don't forget to like the Facebook page of Like Father, Like Daughter. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.